I'll go Ugnerad first, because technically he's the furthest back. He's not going to tell you exactly what he saw, but the gist that you get telepathically from him is that he saw almost all of Goblin kind united. Like, there were just thousands upon thousands of goblins together. And then they just start disappearing one by one.
Uh, did it show like any kind of leader or?
And he just sort of shakes his head, no. We were there, and then we weren't.
Is there anyone of note around?
You can tell he's been visibly shaken by this, and he sort of whispers out loud. Normally, when he's talking about stuff like this, he looks around just to make sure the bargists aren't listening to him or anything, but he whispers this out loud. And he says, "The master was there, but it wasn't the master."
I want you to know that is potential future. Doesn't mean it will happen.
And
That is what I worry that will happen if we let you take him.
he's like sitting upright now, and it's no longer a whisper, and he goes, "They didn't die. They were gone."
Are you able to like gingerly give him a hug?
Yeah, he's like in a state of shock. He's not going to fight you or anything if you like move over to touch him or anything. He also is not benefiting from no long rest tonight.
That thing attached to him is no joke. Oh, we need to figure out a way to settle this. I'm going to do whatever I can in my power to do that.
And it's not normal volume anymore. It's like a started sort of like not staccato, but like the way it's cut up is like he can't even form the words anymore. So like when you go to hug him, he sort of like says it out loud to your ear, but like there's not enough breath for him to yell it or anything. And he just goes, "Gone. All gone."
Look at me.
And he's like, it's hard for him to snap back to reality, but well, there goes Rabbit. Eventually it happens.
That is a potential future. One that is being currently led to. But that does not mean it will happen. I am going to do whatever I can to make sure that doesn't happen.
He's not saying anything, but you can tell, like, there's a lot going on in his brain right now. He's processing.
But didn't we, like, see something like that when we did, like, see that creature? See him turned over?
You definitely saw him flying around, because that was most of his visions. You also know he can produce his own poison spikes, And you know that he can fly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some guess as to what he's potentially been spliced with. But you're pretty sure whatever is currently taking him over is not whatever he was originally spliced with. And Sagmir has said for sure that he has multiple gifts. 100% has mentioned that before.
Show you what my vision was. I know it's definitely way different than yours, but
he's not like fighting you back or anything. You can send whatever. He's barely functioning.
Can I get him to do some
breathing exercises?
Breathing exercises, get him to come to the here and now, focus.
You can certainly try.
Need to roll anything for her?
I think he's got a roll. Did I move all the... No, I didn't move all the d20s. Only some of them. Oh, but I took the fucking... I moved both the rollers over there? I'm stupid. Oh my god, what was that? Why did it make that noise? Didn't like that. Don't do that again. So in this case, he's not, fully cognizant of what's happening, but he can hold a conversation now. He does a little bit of the... And you could tell, since you're basically touching him, well, you were touching him when you were hugging him, and since you're so close, that, when he's fully agitated, it's almost like the molecules that make him up sort of jump. He's not melding into shadow, per se, but, part of that energy is bouncing around. So he's almost weirdly incorporeal at some points. He's starting to become a shadow as he sort of loses higher brain function.
Am I able to squeeze his hand and be focus?
He's not gonna fight you or anything.
So I'll show him the way that basically my vision, even if things become difficult and he somehow starts making your future happen, or making your vision actually come to be, there is still going to be a safe place for you and whoever else. Again, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that your vision does not happen.
And he looks you right in your eyes, and this is the first time that you've seen oh, something's happening up there, really. And he says to you, I much prefer yours.
I hope that you'll come to us.
He doesn't push you off of him or anything, but he sort of stands up, and since you guys are closer to that side, I guess it doesn't matter. There's still plenty of shadow that he can stand in. Whatever, he can get a shadow off of the side of the cart. And he goes, I I have much to contemplate. And it looks like he's about to step off the top part where you guys are, and he just sort of like melds into shadow past the cart and goes and kind of like, for lack of a better term, he kind of like goes and hides in we'll say the shadowy part down there. He just kind of like chills down there. He's just gonna stand in the darkness for a while. Or most likely, you're pretty sure he's sitting in the darkness.
I'd like to say telepathically, just remember you're not alone.
You don't get anything back, but you can see, like, you can just make out. Oh, you have dark vision too. You can just make out that he's sort of like sitting with his back up against the wall, but like crisscross applesauce. Like he's gonna. You're not sure if he meditates, but that might be what he's going to try to do now. All right, who's next? From the back, it's Jiyloo. Oh, cool. Jiyloo has a vision where her and the twins and Rowan and Blackbeard are on their ship, and her vision starts with Blackbeard, who's got a couple grays in his hair, like here and there. She feels like, as her vision starts, she feels like happiness and joy, like this is what she's wanted to do. And as the vision starts, Blackbeard's just fired the harpoon. He's like, and he fires the harpoon into the hull of a much, much bigger ship. It is like towering over them. And they're not on like a small ship, but this is a huge fucking ship that towers over them. And he's shot this the harpoon into the hull of that, and the dagger is, for lack of a better term, like water initial de-drifting because the harpoon is stuck in the hull of this much bigger ship, like around the side of the front of that. And as they sort of like drift around the side, it almost looks like there's some kind of, not like a landing platform, but there's some part of the ship like there-ish that they're sliding around to that has a step. And it's not like a normal medium-sized creature step, but it is a big step. And Jiyloo sort of hands off the wheel to one of the twins, and she goes, "Are you ready?" to the other twin, and he like nods in like he's ready. And she does something weird with her hands, and you can tell she's casting a spell, but it's not. She can tell she's casting a spell. It's not a spell that she has, that she knows she has or anything. Like currently, it's not something that she can do. But you're pretty sure after describing it, even like Goblin Slayer knows from this description that she just cast jump on herself and one of the other twin, and the two of them bound up and land on this little landing platform step for these huge creatures. And she has just boarded a frost giant ship, which is pretty ballsy for a team of 5 humanoids. And they seem ecstatic about it. So she wakes up pretty fucking stoked. This is the adventure of a lifetime. Ooh. Next up from the back is Ambi. Ambi's vision also, for some reason, involves frost giants. And maybe some, like, hill giants, too? But in Ambi's vision, he is leading a force to war. And Ambi recognizes some of these faces. Some of them are Cragmaws. You can see Gog the Ogre is almost like in line with him and Brughor and his contingent, and they are rushing at a whole bunch of Goliaths interspersed with giants of various species, and you can he hears in the background war horns blaring, and he is just like, this is Ambi in his element. And right as his vision ends, he shouts, "Forward, my men!" And he holds up his morning stars and he's like clacking them together. So Ambi also wakes up stoked. Who else do we have? Oh, we have the lucky Chainwhirler. He's probably not going to tell any of you guys what his vision was in its entirety. But he does start walking around for the rest of the day, talking about how he's going to be so filthy rich, he could afford like 10 of these nice sets of armors. And then, the last one is Clem. Clem kind of sits, because his armor's so fucking big, he kind of sits like an Onion Knight from Dark Souls with that huge ass armor. So he's like sort of plopped down. Also not unlike a Goron, just the way that they plop down. And so he slept like that. And you would have expected him to take off all his armor, but he didn't. He just slept in his armor. And he was not, probably wasn't that comfortable, but you're pretty sure he's used to it. And his vision is, or was basically, that he was going to the houses of the relatives of pretty much everyone he knew in the Lord's Alliance, one by one, sort of, I don't know what this process is called, but when you're in the military and they send someone to like tell you that your loved one has died, and he's just doing that for pretty much everybody he knows. Just one by one.
That's rough.
And when he tells you about it, he adds that I wasn't even wearing my armor. It was just me, door to door, in regular people outfits.